Okay, so to get started, you need a piece of coiling core, about a wingspan or an arm span's worth. You need your blue needle, and you need your fiber. To start, I would recommend getting, again, about a wingspan's worth of your fiber. Okay? You're going to take the end of your coiling core and you are going to cut it at an angle. You do not want it to be flat like this. You want it to be at an angle, and you'll see why in a minute. Then you're going to take your string and you're going to lay your string as though you were extending your coiling core with the string. So the tail of your string goes towards the length of the coiling core, and your extra string is going into the air. Then you're going to wrap your string around your coiling core, covering your tail and securing it down. And as you're wrapping, you want to make sure that you are not leaving any of the coiling core exposed. You don't want to see any of the white of the coiling core peeking through your string, because otherwise it will look like you have not done a good job. So be conscientious about how you're wrapping. You don't have to wrap super tight, but you also don't want to wrap so loose that the string is falling off. At this point, you're going to fold your coiling core to get started. And it's going to fight back a little bit because it doesn't want to fold, but that's okay. See how it lays flat right here? That's because you cut that angle, which is why that angled tip is so important. If you wrap your coiling core shorter and you go to fold it, you're going to end up with more of a circular basket because you're starting with more of a circular base. If you wrap your coiling core longer, when you go to fold it, it will end up being a little bit more of an oval shape, and you'll start out with an oval shaped basket. Either one is okay, it's just your personal preference. Which one do you want?
Circular.
Circular. Okay. So, you're going to then fold, and you want to squeeze and fold your coiling core closed. You don't want a gaping hole in between the two layers of the coiling core. Then you're going to take your string and you're going to wrap it around both layers, and here I would squeeze a little bit tighter because you're trying to keep that middle hole closed. And you're going to work your way down. You're going to be able to now cover the very tip of your coiling core where you started, and you're going to wrap, wrap, wrap. And in the beginning, for this very first part, all you're going to want to do is wrap about double what your beginning circle was. Now, you're going to fold again. Notice how when you fold it, you're starting a spiral pattern. But you're going to need the needle on the other end of your string. And you're going to want to tie it on. And now when you go to fold it, you're going to start to connect this layer of coiling core to your other layers of coiling core. And to do that, you're going to take your string and you're going to poke it in between the last two layers of coiling core that you've already wrapped. So you're connecting this piece of coiling core to the spiral by wrapping the string both around the coiling core that you're currently covering and the last coiling core that you just covered. And then you're going to poke that up through, and you're going to pull that tight. And this first time, I would do that twice, because the coiling core is not used to spiraling in this way, and you want to really secure it. Now that you've done that, you're going to wrap, but this time you're only going to wrap about 3 or 4 times. You're going to pinch, and you're going to connect again. And then you're going to wrap 3 or 4 times. Be careful that you're covering all of the coiling core. And you're going to pinch your spiral together and you're going to connect it again. You want to connect it every 3 or 4 times, and you can start to see the pattern of the connecting threads, because that's what's going to hold it together and keep it secure. The more that you wrap without connecting the coiling core, the looser your basket will be, and you'll be able to kind of push it down and move it around, which is not going to allow you to really carry or store things successfully. As you go, let's say we had wrapped and connected all of this coiling core that I'm now manipulating. From here, if you were connecting this piece of coiling core to the spiral here, you would now poke your needle, whoops, up through here. So you don't always poke it through the center. You're poking it to connect the piece of coiling core that you're wrapping to the coiling core that you've just wrapped. So I'm just going to keep going for a little bit so you can see the progression. We're going to wrap 3 or 4 times. We're going to pinch the coiling core together to maintain that spiral shape. And then we're going to connect it by poking the needle in between the last 2 rows or parts of the spiral that you've already wrapped. And then you would just keep going.